in Nylene's Nightmare Cottage, where we explore history, mysteries, and other tales of the macabre. I'm Nim.
And I'm Nylene. Let the nightmare begin.
Disturbing and mature content to follow. Into the nightmare, if you dare.
I don't know, man. This past 2 weeks, I think, we were supposed to record last weekend, I think.
Yes.
And I ended up getting really sick. And that super sucked. But it was kind of nice because I got some time to myself because, I didn't want to get the baby sick. So I was actually it's so funny. I was sitting out back on my patio, just enjoying the night. And I was actually listening to Russian post-punk pop synth, I think is what it's called.
Okay.
While playing Oregon Trail.
I love that.
And on my Switch. And let me tell you, it was a whole vibe. It really was. That's been kind of my weird relaxation thing. Yeah, if anyone has any good recommendations on that.
The music part.
Yes,
okay,
the music part. Yeah, and I've also started playing. I don't know if you were at the age where you were playing Oregon Trail on the computer.
Oh yes, I was I was there when the books were written. I don't
feel like you were too old for that.
No, that was actually, I remember when I was in first grade, and that was the first enter into the computer lab that we had.
Yeah.
And it was typing, basic math, and Oregon Trail.
Yes. And we also did Carmen Sandiego, which there was a dual pack of Oregon Trail and Carmen Sandiego. So I ended up buying it. I haven't done Carmen Sandiego yet, but I remember I used to love that game.
I did too. We actually had it on PC, and it was one of those PC games where you had to have a book to look stuff up. And I thought that was the coolest shit.
Yeah.
No, not enough things do that. I'm actually, I'm also playing something on my Switch right now called Tiny Bookshop.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
It's so fucking cute. You have this little caravan type bookshop where you take to different parts of this town, and there's different genres, and you have to recommend them, but they're all real books, and they all have little synopsises that tells you when they were published, who the author is, all these things. So when people are like, oh, I want a book that's this, that, or the other, you pick something from your shelves and suggest it, and then you get bonuses based on that. And
oh my god, did you find a game where you're running around recommending books to people?
Yes,
because that's literally just your existence. That's all you've ever wanted.
Yeah, so
all I ever wanted.
Amidst this, crazy week I've had, that's been my solace, has been, nobody talk to me, let me just sell my books.
Dude, there is something about just being able to sit there and just play your Switch. I don't know. I like falling into games, and then of course reading.
Yes.
Oh shit, there was something. Oh, so I did, dude. So I had how I told you, I don't know what's happened in the past. I think Ace is doing this. Okay. I know I just went 12 different directions.
That's okay.
But hear me out. So it used to be that I would find all kinds of things in Ace's pockets. He would leave because he has long hair, so he would leave hair ties in there, or pens, or sticky notes, or when we used to smoke, lighters, everything.
Yeah, imagine when Monkey was an arcade tech.
Oh my gosh, all the little pieces.
Buttons, pinballs, switches, levers,
oh my gosh,
pinball rubbers, just so many things you don't even know.
Yeah, so now he's I finally have him checking his pockets, and then I had to start checking Bash's pockets because I was finding rocks in the washing machine because he was putting them in his pockets.
Of course he was.
And then he finally stopped, and I was like, oh, good, I'm great. Tell me why I put my earpods, my Samsung AirPods, I left them in my pocket when I washed my jeans. And they just get really hot when I try to charge them.
Oh,
I know, I'm so sad. But luckily I have other headphones, so I can still listen to stuff. But I feel weird because I've been doing my gardening or whatever stuff that I have to do outside with I usually use my pods. And I'm not going to go to the grocery store with giant headphones. No offense if anyone else does.
Right, just not your vibe.
I don't know, I'm scared. I don't know why, but I'm scared.
I agree. I wouldn't. I like the discreetness of my earbuds.
Yes.
I've actually had mine. I remember Monkey got them for me for Christmas, the Christmas right before COVID. So I've had them for almost 6 years. So I don't know. It was 2019. And they're still, like, they don't fully work. Like, I don't use the left one anymore, but I love them so much.
Oh, dude, I love these because they were purple.
Aw.
And, like, it's my favorite color. And, like, they're really great because, like, they were the updated version. Like, they had really good ambient sound. Like, even, like, actually, they weren't the updated. They were the one before the updated version because Ace has the updated ones. And honestly, the way that the ambient sound, it sounds like shit and I hate it. So now I'm like, do I have to, like, find a way to get the old ones again? I
That
don't
would
know.
be such a you thing to do.
Right? Right? I know. I don't know why. I'm just very, like...
When you know you have something that works for you and you like it, then you don't need to look outside of that. You just want to keep using the thing that works.
Exactly.
I get you.
So, yeah, all of that. And then last thing, so we've been training Fern, the new nightmare puppy, because she's just getting so big and massive and too excitable. So we've been, like, taking her to training classes and stuff. And so that involves, like, giving her a lot of treats. And so now I have to give Fern a treat at the same time I give Dojo a treat at the same time. Now Sushi wants a treat. So it's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
But the other day, like, I had the box of Friskies. And it wasn't Friskies, it was the Greenies one.
Mm-hmm.
And I ended up, the lid is really fucking stupid on that thing.
Yeah, I know. We give them to Grim as well.
Oh my God. So, like, I go to take it out and tell me why the whole box spilled in the pantry. The whole fucking box. And so now, anytime that Sushi hears that pantry door open, she runs in there because she's trying to, like, get all the treats that have fallen everywhere.
It happened once. It could happen again.
No, but, like, they're everywhere because I haven't been able to pick them up because there's, like, it's a really deep pantry.
Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, like, I've locked her in that pantry at least twice now, like, not realizing that she had gone there because she's a cat. So yeah, now I have to watch out and make sure my cat isn't trapped in the pantry before I go to bed. That would be a fun thing to wake up to.
Oh my God.
But yeah, so that's been what I've been dealing with, and it's been fun.
Always an adventure.
I did want to mention one more thing. Ace had some stickers made of the Nightmare Cottage logo, as well as, like, our Spotify code and stuff. If anyone wants one,
nightmarecottage@gmail.com.
and I'll try to see if I can. I mean, you should be able to use the website as well.
Yes.
But, like, literally, if you just send me your address, I will mail you one for free. Feel free to send us your address, either email at
nightmarecottage@gmail.com,
or just, you know, on our website. There's an about section. You can put a comment, you can put whatever. And yeah.
Yep. And that's just nightmarecottage.com.
Yeah. And I promise I won't add you to any weird spam lists or send you a bunch of shit or go visit you.
Yes.
You're like, I don't know why we're bringing that up.
Yeah.
It sounds suspicious. Sounds kind of suspicious.
Are you familiar with the Beast of Gevaudan? I'm going to pronounce this as best I can. Okay. All of these words are going to be French. And I did take French, which means I know that I'm butchering it. I'm just going to jump right in and share the tale. In 1764, just a year after the end of the 7 Years' War, the Gevaudan region in southern France, currently Lozère, a series of vicious attacks began to be carried out at alarming rates. Wolf attacks were common in this time and place, but surviving victims were all quite sure their assailants were not your standard gray wolf native to the area.
I'm sorry, what time period was this?
1764 to 1767 is going to be the span of this story.
Oh, wow. It's only a few years. Okay.
It is, yeah. Le Bête de Gevaudan, which I will refer to as the Beast going forward.
Okay.
Was described as... The Beast. Was described as being much larger than a gray wolf, with reported sizes ranging from that between a calf and that of a horse. The head was stout and almost pig-like, and there was a stripe of hair running down its back, with the fur reported as being a reddish-brown. So this area of France is actually really, it was kind of backwater, and everybody was, like, really superstitious, you know, so we don't have all of the science to explain why all the things happen, right? So always a superstition for everything. It was remote and rural, and it was the late 1700s. It was perfect breeding grounds for a monstrous legend. The first reported attack came in early June of 1764. A young woman was tending her oxen when she was attacked. Oxen are very protective and loyal, so they stood around her to protect her, and eventually the beast took off.
So this was during the day. Like, it was daylight when this happened. It was daylight,
yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. She described the beast as like a wolf, but not a wolf.
I wonder if it had rabies. Because, like, usually they say animals will attack in the daytime if it has, like...
That noted, and we'll come back up.
Okay.
Later that same month, the first recorded fatality occurred. 14-year-old Jeanne Boulet. Her body had been brutally torn apart. There were dozens more attacks throughout the summer and fall, with reports of torn throats or even decapitations, as well as eviscerated torsos with organs ripped out.
Jeez.
Yeah.
So they, like, basically left it like a bloody mess.
Yeah, juicy entrails just everywhere.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Locals began to suspect something supernatural at this point. During the many hunts for the beast, many claimed that bullets wouldn't put it down. It would knock it back, but it would continue to rise and attack.
Okay, I'm going to sound like an idiot. Did they really have guns? I thought it was gunpowder at that time.
Yeah. Don't get me to give you like a history on guns, but yes. Like rifles and like muskets and bayonets and stuff for things.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So later on in January 1765, 10-year-old Jacques Portefeuille and a group of kids were attacked, but they managed to drive off the beast with nothing but sharp sticks and main character energy.
Interesting.
Yeah. King Louis XV was actually so impressed that he rewarded the children and paid for Jacques to be educated, and finally initiated royal support to dispatch the beast.
Oh.
Yeah, it was definitely more political than actually wanting to be helpful, but he did that. Later on, during an attack in August of 1765, Marie-Jeanne Vallée drove a bayonet through the beast, earning her the nickname the Maid of Gevaudan, and eventually a statue.
So it sounds like there was only one of them. It wasn't like, that's cool, it looks like a dragon or something.
Yeah, so this is the statue that's actually there now that still stands, so you can see that, and that'll be put in the show notes.
You know, Grimm might come from that creature. Look how long his tail is.
I wouldn't put it past him. So I mentioned that King Louis had finally decided to get off his ass and do something. Well, or rather pay people to get up their asses and do something. First, he sent out Captain Jean-Baptiste Duhamel. Duhamel recruited tens of thousands of hunters to the cause. Many were eager to redeem themselves after the disappointing performances in the 7 Years' War. Duhamel's hunters tracked and lured to no avail. They put out poison bait and even dressed as peasant women to try to coax out the beast. No.
Wait.
I know.
What?
They're like, vice cops dressed up as prostitutes trying to lure out the bad guy.
They're just like, oh, the wolf will only come out if I'm a peasant and a female
all
alone.
So most of the attacks were women and children. Like the only male victims were like isolated by themselves. But we'll kind of get into that here in a bit. So after all of that, eventually Duhamel and his hunters gave up. The king then dispatched Jean-Charles Denneval and his son to take a stab at tracking the beast. The father-son duo boasted of having killed over 1,000 wolves, and they were very eager to solve this mystery and put it to rest. After a few months passing with no results, the king pulled back the Dennevals and sent in his own personal bodyguard, the 71-year-old Francois Antoine.
Oh my gosh. Wow, living it to 71 at that time?
Right, and being a bodyguard, like being this able-bodied dude. Like,
that's crazy.
Gotta be grizzled as hell. Francois Antoine took a bunch of men to traipse through the French mountains and countryside, murdering every wolf they could come in contact with. God. Eventually, in the fall of 1765, the group killed a wolf large enough that it just might be the beast. So they took the thing back to the king, got rewarded, and fucked off in false glory. The wolf was stuffed, but has since been buried or destroyed since they didn't have proper preservation techniques.
I was about to say, I wonder what that thing looked like now.
Yeah. At this point, there had been hundreds of attacks, many of which ended in death. Things settled down for a bit after Francois was killed, but unfortunately, the peace would not last. 2 months later, the slaughter started again. For the next year and a half, another 35 people would be murdered viciously.
Oh gosh.
Which is interesting, because before this, it was like dozens and dozens of attacks at a time, and now it's slowed down to 35. The Gevaudan region did not receive any royal assistance at this time. As far as the king was concerned, the beast had already been slain. Jean Chastel was a local farmer that had been part of some of the earlier hunts. Despite him being considered an honest, good man by his peers, Francois Antoine threw Chastel in jail for leading his men into challenging bog terrain instead of anywhere he deemed to be useful. Yeah. By this time, though, he was back to his farm and ready to help with the hunt. And help he did. On June 19th, 1767, Jean Chastel shot 2 rounds he had blessed by local clergy into the beast.
Ooh, blessed rounds.
Yes. From there, the hunting dogs finished the job. The corpse of the beast was then taken to Versailles, where the king dismissed the notion of this being the beast.
Right. There can't be more than one. Like, you could have at least been like, oh, it must have mated.
Yeah, no. So the carcass was taken for study, and the results were recorded by notary Roch Etienne Marin. The resulting document is referred to as the Marin Report. I've got a link to this in the show notes, so you can see like the actual document and stuff. Generally, the report states that the creature only sort of looked like a wolf. It was bigger and had features inconsistent with wolves, including coloring and body structure, though many of the measurements were consistent with that of a larger gray wolf. Unfortunately, since the beast was killed in June and then traveled across the country in suboptimal preservation in the sweltering fucking summer, all of the results of the examination were inconclusive due to the rotten deterioration.
And did they have cameras? I don't think they had cameras at the time.
No. Yeah. The beast was buried soon after the report was recorded. This time, the killings did stop.
Did they do any like sketches or anything of that?
Yeah, and there's some that'll be in the show notes for that. But there's theories. Are we ready?
Yes.
Ready for theories. So we're never going to know, right? Because this was hundreds of years ago.
How are they going to know?
But there's some interesting theories. Some plausible, some quite outlandish. And we're going to cover them from most logical to less.
Is aliens one of them?
No. Sorry. Okay, so the most logical and probably right answer here is that it's just a big fucking wolf or several wolves, and things were just sensationalized due to the superstition and the novel concept of the media frenzy, which was starting to become a thing.
Yeah. Just some really brave wolves that were like, I mean, we can eat them, might as well.
Exactly. It should also be mentioned that wolves have been known to breed with other wild dogs, and the offspring can be quite large and ferocious. That's another very likely scenario. Talking on the rabies thing, rabies was another theory, but there was not much correlation of rabies in the victims.
That's fair, yeah. Well, I mean, if they were torn apart instead of just bitten.
I don't know what the testing process is like at that point, so I don't know.
I think with rabies, they have trouble swallowing, and it wouldn't have been able to live for that long either, because I know they get really hydrophobic pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't know. Now, some people did get, like, fucked up and not die.
Yeah, that's fair.
So,
probably not rabies.
At least not in, like, many cases at all.
Yeah.
So, another realistic possibility to consider is that royalty and nobles frequently kept small zoos and exotic animals. Some thought it might be a hyena.
I was about to say!
But they're actually smaller than wolves. A theory that I think is interesting and is my favorite theory, even though it may not be the most probable, is that it was a young male lion. The reddish fur, the stripe of hair down the back, before their full mane grows in, they have like a little mohawk.
I mean, I guess, would they have known what a lion looked like at that time?
People in France would not, because they aren't native to that. So, but it would look real similar to a wolf.
Yeah.
But the reddish brown fur, the mohawk.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, that feels correct, even though there's not enough evidence.
I mean, and even like think about all the different breeds of dogs we have now in general.
And you know, many of the attacks were also the MO of a lion. They were like described as an ambush. And like I said, yeah, they have no reference to what a lion would look like. Biggest argument against the logic of that is that lions wouldn't tolerate French winters, and this went on for 3 years.
Oh.
So,
I mean,
I'll come back to that.
What if it was someone's pet and they were like, you know how like you let your, well, no, I don't let my cat out, but some people let their cats out. Like it was the same thing. They were like, yeah, during the day it just goes out, and at night it just comes home.
I'm going to actually add to that here in a second. Okay. We're going to now start looking at some of the more off-the-wall theories. And they're amplified again by that rural superstition and the sensationalist media, so all the grains of salt. One theory that sounded like it would make a really badass story. A serial killer had a trained beast, perhaps a lion, that he sent to kill people under the guise of a wolf attack. Most of the victims were women and children, so some thought the attacks were targeted. There was also some suspicion around Jean Chastel, the guy who made the final kill. Why was he able to corner and slay the beast when so many others had failed? So some people think that he was responsible.
Or he was actually able to find it.
Right, yeah. Next, we have werewolves, or the loup-garou in French. Already had a hold in French folklore at this time. It was a small jump for the superstitious villagers to make when faced with these tragedies. The last theory I will mention is the thought that this was somehow a still living direwolf or cave hyena.
I was wondering about that, how direwolves might play into this.
That somehow escaped the 12,000 plus years since the rest of their species was extinct.
I mean, but aren't there even dogs now that are like, they have direwolf blood in them? Like, it's
So they recently crossbred something with direwolf DNA, and it was like a whole big deal. Like this happened a few weeks ago.
Okay, so this wasn't like
Yeah,
okay.
no, this is not like there are definitely not direwolves in existence and have not been for over 10,000 years.
Got it.
So there's plenty of evidence against these three theories, so we can't really hold any stock to that. Despite all that, despite the heavily documented events of the nearly 300 attacks and over 100 gruesome deaths, despite having a corpse, despite it being autopsied, we still have no idea what the Beast of Gevaudan actually was.
That's cool. I've never heard of that one.
I hadn't either. I don't even know how it crossed my field of view to catch on it, but it made me think about like the fact that it's French and it's about the Beast. It makes me think of Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah.
But I couldn't find anything that tied them together. I even like dug through the folklore like archives and stuff, and I couldn't find anything. But
So today I'm actually going to tell, surprise, surprise, a crime story. Ooh. So this one's a little interesting. It has a few theories, and it's a recent one. So this one takes place in 2022.
Oh, so real recent.
Yes, in Strongsville, Ohio. MacKenzie Shirilla and Dominic Russo, aged 17 and 20, had been dating for about 4 years. They were basically living together in Dominic's house, which was owned by and planted right next door to his mother. They were both very popular, well-liked, as well as active on social media and the social scene. MacKenzie was known to be a bit of a wild child. She'd post pictures of her doing drugs, drinking in her car, and at parties and stuff like that. Her parents kind of let her do whatever she wanted to do. Dominic, her boyfriend, he was a few years older than MacKenzie. He was still figuring out what he wanted to do after high school.
He's 22?
20.
20.
She's 17.
So
they met 4 years ago. Yep.
16 and 12? Is that?
It sounds right.
That's gross. Okay.
Yeah.
16 and 12?
I think it was like 13 and 17. Doesn't make it much better, though.
It really doesn't.
No.
Okay. Continue.
No. So Dominic, her boyfriend, was a few years older than MacKenzie. He was still figuring out what he wanted to do after high school. He was looking into maybe a career as a DJ or like joining the military. You know, the things that you do. I have nothing after that.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was his biggest mindset was really MacKenzie and doing whatever it took to make her happy. They'd been together, I guess, you know, through those tumultuous like teenage years. To most, it seemed like they had a pretty normal, tumultuous type high school relationship. MacKenzie had just graduated high school along with Dominic's good friend Davian Flanagan, age 19. So they were going to a lot of graduation celebrations and festivities of that type. On the night of July 30th, 2022, MacKenzie, Dominic, and Davian went to multiple house parties. The first one was at Kelly Raja's house. The group arrived around 10 p.m., hung out for a while. They'd brought a bottle of tequila and a weed pen with them. They were talking about going over to someone's house and tripping on shrooms. So they had only stayed for about 30 minutes at this party before they decided to leave. The second house party was that of Paul Burlinghouse. Paul says they just listened to music. Some people were smoking weed. He says that him and MacKenzie didn't smoke that night, but others did, and that no one was drinking alcohol or using any other drugs. That they just had like a really chill, like close friend hangout type situation. Okay. Paul says that he went to sleep sometime after midnight and awoke around 3 or 4 a.m. and noticed that MacKenzie was still asleep on the couch and Davian was watching TV with some friends. He didn't see Dominic again that night, but everyone else was kind of accounted for around 3 or 4 a.m. So on the next morning of July 31st, 2022, Strongsville police responded to a 911 call reporting that a car had crashed into a building near the intersections of Progress Drive and Alameda Drive. Looking back at surveillance footage, the crash had happened around 5:40 a.m. It was called in about 45 minutes later by a passenger who noticed the crash. Police didn't arrive until almost an hour after the crash.
Wow.
Yeah. The car, because it was called in like 45 minutes after it happened and they arrived 15 minutes later.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they had been sitting there for a while before someone noticed it. The car was really, really smashed up. There was really heavy front end damage. All of the airbags deployed. The car looked like it was cut in half. Like it was really bad. First responders noticed, quote, the legs and lower torso of what appeared to be a female on the driver's side, while the upper half of the driver's body appeared to be on the passenger side, underneath the passenger dashboard, with the whole thing caved in on top of her. She was still whole,
God.
but yeah, she was just like splayed across the car. On the passenger side, first responders noticed that passenger seat was reclined all the way back. Dominic Russo lay on the passenger seat. He was unresponsive, had severe head trauma. That was Mackenzie's boyfriend. And Davian, he was laying on top of Dominic with his back to the seat and facing up to the roof of the car.
So he was missing at that point too when Paul woke
Yeah.
up?
No, Davian was watching TV. Mackenzie was sleeping on the couch.
Okay, Davian was present.
Yeah,
but
Dominic was the one that was in there, but now all three of them are in this car.
Oh, okay. Sorry, for some reason I thought it was a different chick.
It's okay. I gave a lot of names.
Okay, all right.
Yes, so all three of them are in this car. Mackenzie seems to be the one driving. She's under the dashboard right now with it caved in on top of her. Her boyfriend's next to her, basically with the seat all the way reclined, laying down on it, and his friend is on top of him with his facing the roof of the car, basically.
Jesus Christ.
Davian also had really severe head trauma and was responsive as well. Both of the men were not wearing their seatbelts either, so they think obviously this might have led to even more damage than would have happened initially. So initially they believed that everyone in the car was deceased until they started breaking the windows to like actually get in, and they heard someone mumbling. So they started like trying to pull open the car more. They realized Mackenzie was still alive. Oh. So she was pulled out of the car using the jaws of life. You know what that is, right? So for anyone who doesn't, it's basically a can opener for a car. So they pulled Mackenzie out of the driver's side of her car and they sent her off to the hospital. She had significant injuries to her leg and her arm, but I mean, that was most of it. And the first thing that she asked first responders when they pulled her out of the car was, "How is Davian?" Not her boyfriend, who was sitting next to her, but Davian, the guy in the back seat. It seemed kind of odd to me that she was asking about him and not her boyfriend, but maybe she like heard him talking when she was passing out. I don't know.
Yeah, also probably some head trauma, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they noticed that he was still alive to Davian, but unfortunately he passed before CareFlight could get there. Like he was just barely hanging on. So the police are investigating the crash and they realized that the car had to be going like really fast for this kind of damage. And also it was a 35 mile per hour commercial road that this happened on.
Right.
But the impact was really bad. The road is described as an older paved road with sections where the concrete has raised, like little raises on it. It's a little bit bumpy with a series of curves. Once you get to the end of the road, there's like a T intersection. Mm-hmm. And she basically blew through it. They didn't see any indication of the car trying to brake before it crashed. So they pulled out the black box of the car and sent it for further forensic investigation. Mm-hmm. So while all of that is happening, they get Mackenzie to the hospital to be treated for injuries, and she's claiming that she has no recollection of what happened before the accident or what caused it. She says that she thinks that maybe she had a seizure due to her POTS diagnosis, which we'll get more into later. She's in the hospital taking selfies, posting on social media. She doesn't seem overly upset or remorseful that she was like driving a car that caused the death of like her boyfriend and his friend. Wow. Investigators bring up that they feel like she's not taking this very seriously, and that she might be facing murder charges for at least like reckless driving at minimum.
Right, manslaughter at least.
Yeah. So to this, Mackenzie responds by asking like, "Can't you just take away my license for 10 years or something?" Yeah, so she's very out of touch. Investigators keep looking into Mackenzie and her relationship with all of the people that were in the car, as well as her medical history and events preceding the event. So, a few things that they found. In police interviews, they were getting a lot of people coming forward saying that Mackenzie just wasn't all there. She seemed really unstable.
Previously or now?
Previously. Like, they were like, yeah, dude, she's just like a little bit off. Like, she's just, again, kind of out of touch. There were recordings that Dominic had her boyfriend had saved on his phone of them fighting and her threatening like key his car, damage his things, like over them breaking up, like just escalating things really far. They were just always breaking up, getting back together. And again, like, they're in high school, living next door to his mother.
Right.
But they were always just like breaking up, getting back together. Their fights were just really intense. MacKenzie and Dominic's family were really, really close. Again, living next door, trying to be wifey. You know what I mean?
Right.
Dominic's mother mentioned that she had noticed in the 6 months before the crash that MacKenzie and Dominic's relationship seemed really strained. She would message and MacKenzie, she would call and message Dominic's mom all the time and involve her in their fights. Yeah, not good. 2 weeks prior to the accident, MacKenzie and Dominic got into another one of their really, really big fights. They were on the highway, and Dominic called his mother and tells her that MacKenzie is driving recklessly and threatening him. A friend who picked up Dominic heard MacKenzie yelling that she would crash the car. So MacKenzie was reported to have had a bag of mushrooms in her bra when she was pulled out of the car, but her lab work didn't indicate that she had done mushrooms that night or that she had alcohol in her system. Impairment from marijuana was also ruled out due to the levels that were in her system. Like, it seemed like she had smoked at some point, but maybe not that night or recently. Both MacKenzie and her mother claimed that she had a POTS diagnosis from a doctor whose name they can't remember in 2017. They told her to just chew on salt tabs or salty food to treat it. Do you know what POTS is?
I don't.
Okay. So it stands for postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome.
Okay.
It causes an elevated heart rate, which like kind of makes you feel dizzy or can make you pass out unexpectedly. Like, typically, like if you stand up or sit down or like move, it's almost like, I don't want to say it's vertigo because it's not. It's more blood pressure related. It's just like circulation, not positional changes. Basically, can cause it. It's one of those tough diagnoses that isn't like, there's not definitive blood work for it. More like tests they can run to help determine like limitations in your daily activities or like intake of salt or stuff like that. Her mom said that she had at least 2 episodes that she could remember. But medical personnel who treated MacKenzie at the time of the accident stated that initially her eyes were closed, but after paramedics started asking her questions, she was giving delayed verbal responses. She was confused, but she was alert. Her pulse seemed normal, and her blood oxygen level was 82, with normal level being 95 or above. So her blood oxygen was a little low,
right,
which could account for, that kind of situation.
Sure.
So one of the medical responders stated when questioned, a person could have a seizure before medical personnel arrived, and there would be no signs of it during medical evaluation. Additionally, her blood oxygen level of 82 was extremely low, and that a level this low could indicate that a person just went into cardiac arrest or just came back out of cardiac arrest. Alternatively, it could be the result of a misplaced measuring device or cold fingers. Yeah.
God damn it.
So the doctor who admitted MacKenzie to the hospital the morning of the accident stated that it was possible that she could have recovered after 2 hours from like a seizure or a mini stroke. So maybe. As for the findings of the car in the accident itself, the night of the accident, surveillance video shows MacKenzie turning her car onto Progress Drive. She turned on her turn signal, was driving carefully. Oddly, though, it didn't make sense for her to turn onto that street to get where she needed to be or where she was going. It wasn't a shortcut or anything.
Did they think they were heading home? Or
yeah,
okay,
they thought they were probably heading home or I don't know, maybe they were getting
Damien's house.
Yeah,
okay,
but yeah, that was nowhere near where they were needed, and it was a commercial area, so it didn't make sense for them to go in there. It wasn't a shortcut anywhere.
Right.
They made a big deal about her having been in the area a few days before the accident, maybe scoping the area out. But then they later admitted that cell phone towers just pinged the general area. So it was more of a suspicion that, maybe. But in the car and on MacKenzie, they found the previously mentioned mushrooms, 1.8 grams of it, a digital scale, 2 cell phones, a bong, a bag of marijuana, a purse, and a Cadillac key fob. This to me makes me think they were selling mushrooms, not necessarily doing them. Again, maybe they were. I don't know. It wasn't in her system. The car's black box records show it took 20 to 25 seconds to get to 99 miles per hour. So the pedal was fully depressed with no attempt to brake being made.
Wow.
The car was fully airborne as it went over the curb. With 4.5 seconds of the start of the crash, the car made a small right turn, then a small left turn, followed by a significant right hard turn. that caused the car to roll over. It was suggested that there might have been a struggle in the car, with one of the investigators saying that maybe the guys had taken their seatbelts off in an attempt to, like,
get her to chill the fuck out.
Yeah, to stop the crash. I personally feel like it was really early in the morning. They were like half asleep. Maybe shouldn't put their seatbelts on, being young, dumb. They didn't find any issues with the car itself that could have been a factor in causing the accident. There was no indication that the brakes had been applied for a long period of time in an attempt to stop the car before the crash. One odd thing from the black box was that it showed that both front seatbelts were engaged at the time of the crash. But remember, the guys didn't have seatbelts on.
So taken off after the crash?
Which is weird, because then why was there so much damage, like they'd been thrown around the car?
Did Dominic die instantly, or do we know?
It seems that he died instantly. Okay. There wasn't a lot of information, but it seems like he died pretty...
Okay, and then Davian lasted until just before care flight.
Correct. Okay. Yeah. Also, that the gear shift was manually shifted back and forth between drive, sequential, and neutral in the 4.7 seconds before the crash. So, like, someone had been...
maybe trying to put it in park or something.
So there's a few theories on the seatbelts, gear shift movement, and hard right turn, which I'm going to get into. So the first theory, it was suggested that there might have been a struggle in the car, with one of the investigators saying that maybe the guys had taken their seatbelts off, which I already mentioned. It was probably too early in the morning and they were just, right? So we talked about that one.
Right.
The next one was the multiple turns and gear shift movement could have been her trying to maybe gain control of the vehicle. And maybe she just panicked harder and hit the accelerator. You know what I mean? Like when you try to like brake and you brake too hard, or your like foot slips. I have done that.
To 99 miles an hour?
Not to 99 miles an hour, no.
Yeah. That feels not it.
They also state maybe the hard right turn could have been a physical reaction of the airborne vehicle impacting the ground.
Oh, yeah.
And my personal theory, so as I do, the couple, this is my theory, that the couple was fighting and Davian was in the back trying to ignore them. He tells her to calm down and she freaks out because you don't fucking do that. Mm-hmm. He tells her to slow down, to which she responds by accelerating down the street.
Yeah.
The sudden momentum and freak out causes her POTS to act up and she passes out. Her boyfriend tries to move her leg while controlling the wheel, but ends up mashing her leg into the accelerator more. He panics, takes off the seatbelt, tries to shift the car into any other gear except drive. The car hits the curb, goes airborne, his arm pulling the wheel to the right as he falls back into a seat, and they crash.
That tracks.
Yeah, that's my theory.
That seems very plausible.
Right? I should, do this for a living. So MacKenzie was arrested 3 months after the crash. Since she was 17 when the crash happened, her case was initially tried in the juvenile court system. This meant that at most, MacKenzie would only be in jail until she was 21. The defense didn't feel like this was enough time for her conviction, so they convinced the judge that there was enough evidence of this being done purposefully and with malice. So the judge converted the case to an adult criminal court. This meant that she would now be tried as an adult, which meant she could face life in prison. Day one of her adult trial, MacKenzie shows up to court wearing a brace cast type situation on her arm, which medical records show no reason for her having. Maybe she was trying to gain sympathy. It didn't work. They really hammered into all this evidence, and her lawyer didn't interject much or cross-examine the witnesses. Even his remarks and closing arguments were stumbling. They weren't very confident. Yeah, it was bad. It was
public defender, maybe? Or
her family was kind of wealthy.
Well, what the fuck?
I know. And I watched these videos, and that guy was just, I don't know, maybe it was his first case. I don't know. Maybe he knew they didn't have a I don't know. It was bad. I'm not trying to say she was innocent or because I don't know if she was. Right. I just think there was a lot of suggestions that could have been examined at different angles for different outcomes. Mm-hmm. In the end, MacKenzie was sentenced in adult court. She waived her right to a trial by jury and was charged with 4 counts of murder, 4 counts of felonious assault, aggravated vehicular homicide, drug possession, possessing criminal tools. She was sentenced to serve an indefinite sentence of 15 years to life in prison for each murder, to be served concurrently to each other, so at the same time. Mm-hmm. In her sentencing, the judge called the crash the horrible, terrifying, and tragic result of a selfish, intentional, and cruel decision by MacKenzie. Following sentencing, the judge stated, quote, I understand that the pain in this room wants me to impose the harshest sentence, but I don't believe that would be an appropriate sentence because I do believe that MacKenzie will not be out in 15 years. End quote.
Okay.
And that is the end of that case. So the reason that I did this one is because this is like the second or third time that I actually watched this on, what was it? I watched so many crime things. Killer Cases is what the series was called. And I remember this one shocking me so much because the first time I saw it, I think I was pregnant with Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember like kind of freaking out for a second because I was like, okay, so I could like do everything right. I could teach him to put his seatbelt on, to not drink and drive, to not just to not be dumb, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if he just has a murderous girlfriend, that's it. Like you can't protect him. And it's just like, I cannot.
No, but you can encourage him to make good decisions.
Did you make good decisions?
I actually think I mostly did.
I did not.
I was, I've been a rule follower forever. Like I hate, like, my biggest fear is getting in trouble, right? So
Yeah.
I generally err on the side of correct when I can, mostly.
Yeah, this one was really frustrating for me. Not just because of that, but also just I don't know. Like, I don't know if she was guilty, to be completely honest.
Yeah, so I'm thinking about the level of hormones in a teenage girl like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you have this older boyfriend, so you feel like you're older than you are,
Mm-hmm.
right? You surround yourself with people who are older.
And her parents literally let her do whatever.
So there's a maturity issue there.
Yeah.
There's probably some, I don't know, like, I was dramatic in unchecked ways where I was more extra than I ever needed to be. Like,
Yeah.
and we're all guilty of that, I think, especially
Growing up. Yeah.
yeah. So I could believe that she just did not truly have a grasp on the reality of just how fucking extreme it was. I could believe that
To
is the
kill
case.
somebody? To
She
crash
doesn't.
her car?
She doesn't. Yes, fucked up, and I'm glad she's in jail. But
Really?
yeah,
I
because it
just
does
don't
seem
know if she
malicious.
did it
But
on purpose.
I don't know that she did it on purpose. But that's why I think manslaughter is appropriate. I don't know what was she convicted of? Actual murder?
Yeah, like
And a bunch
aggravated.
of I
It
know
was
there was
aggravated. Yeah.
aggravated,
Like, which means with intent and malice.
right?
And see, like, to me, like, I could see, like,
I mean, she was lucky she didn't fucking die too.
reckless exactly. That's my big thing is, like, I could see the reckless driving or reckless whatever, all of the other stuff, but being charged with intentional murder, that I didn't understand because there was a lot of stuff that I didn't talk about in this because there was this case just went crazy. But they were trying to bring in, like, was she suicidal? And, like the jokes that you make growing up, like, I failed my test, I'll just kill myself.
Right.
Like, not saying you should joke about suicide, but you know what I mean? Like, they were trying to bring all of that into it. And at the end of the day, it's like she had to be suicidal to do this because how can you ensure that you're going to get out? The way how mangled that car was.
I mean, there's also that whole immortal youth
That's true.
complex.
That's true. Yeah.
You don't truly believe anything bad's going to happen to you. I mean, she probably had no idea it was going to turn out that way. She probably thought it was going to just scare everybody and that everything would be fine.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But the selfies and lack of remorse in the hospital is pretty shitty.
Yeah. So this week, we are actually starting something new for our palette cleansers. We decided to buy this Pick Your Poison card game, and we're just going to kind of use it as a would you rather situation.
Yes.
That we're going to talk about. So we have 2 cards. What would it be? Let's see. Would you rather
get scalded on your inner thigh with a branding iron?
Good God. Or hand out fortune cookies with bigoted sayings on them every Halloween.
Oh no.
Do you want to scald yourself or ruin Halloween?
I would get scalded.
Really?
Yes.
No.
Bigoted sayings? No. I'm sorry. Halloween and trick-or-treating is precious. It's sacred. You do not fuck with that. Yes, fuck me up. I will not mess up trick-or-treating.
Oh, you're crazy.
I am.
I don't know. Maybe it's because I burned myself so many times on accident, like working in restaurants. I'm not. No, you're crazy. You would rather burn yourself.
Yes, one and done, get it over with, rather than traumatizing children and their parents with bigoted sayings inside fortune cookies on Halloween.
Just tell them not to read it.
The most holy of holy nights. If you were told not to read something, what would you do? You'd fucking read it.
I would read it.
That's a good place to end it,
Yes.
I think.
So we will see y'all soon enough, I suppose. Again, stickers.
Yeah, they're very nice vinyl stickers. Like they're good for on your car or putting it in places in the public where it just looks cool, on your laptop.
They were made by Ace. Ace drew them up and put them together. So I'm super proud of them. But just send us your address, and I will mail you one.
Sweet dreams.
Good night.
If you have topic requests, book or movie recommendations, or just want to say hi, email us at nightmarecottage@gmail.com or visit our website at nightmarecottage.com. Sweet dreams.
Bye-bye.